It was a crisp autumn afternoon in Manhattan, the kind where the golden leaves seemed to shimmer against the backdrop of towering skyscrapers. Barron Trump had just wrapped up a private meeting with a tech startup his father had invested in. At 18, Barron had already begun carving out a name for himself, dabbling in entrepreneurship while balancing his studies and public image. Unlike the ostentatious lifestyle often associated with his family, Barron preferred to keep a low profile. His tall frame and quiet demeanor exuded an air of mystery that made him both elusive and intriguing to the public. That afternoon, instead of hopping into his usual chauffeured SUV, Barron decided to take a walk. He wanted to feel the rhythm of the city, the hum of life that pulsed through its streets. Dressed in a simple black hoodie and jeans, he blended into the crowd, just another young man navigating the chaos of New York. As he strolled past boutiques and cafes, something caught his attention: a commotion outside a small deli tucked between two towering office buildings. A woman, clearly pregnant and visibly distressed, was struggling to push a cart filled with boxes up a steep curb. The cart wobbled precariously, and it was evident she was on the verge of losing control. Barron's steps slowed as he observed the scene. Most people walked past her, too absorbed in their own lives to notice. A few cast curious glances but didn't stop to help. The woman's face was flushed, a mix of exhaustion and frustration etched into her features. She looked no older than her late 20s, and her uniform, a stained apron with the deli's logo, told Barron she was likely an employee. Without a second thought, Barron approached her. "Let me help you with that," he said, his voice calm but firm. The woman looked up, startled. For a moment, she seemed unsure whether to accept his offer, her eyes scanning his face as if trying to gauge his intentions. But the sincerity in his expression won her over, and she nodded, stepping aside. Barron took hold of the cart, his athletic build making it easy to steady the load. The man's expression faltered for a moment, but he quickly recovered. "Look, kid, I don't know who you think you are, but this is none of your business." Barron took a deep breath, trying to keep his temper in check. "You're right. It's not my business. But it should be yours. You have a responsibility to treat your employees with basic decency." The manager rolled his eyes. "Yeah, well, thanks for the lecture. Now, if you don't mind." Before he could finish, Barron pulled out his phone. "What's the name of this place again? I just want to make sure I tag the right deli when I post about how you're treating your pregnant employees." The manager's face turned pale. "Wait, what are you doing?" "Just spreading the word," Barron said casually, pretending to type. "I'm sure people would love to hear about this." All right, the manager said, holding up his hands in surrender. "I'll help her, okay? Just don't post anything." Barron put his phone away, satisfied. "Good. And make sure she doesn't have to do this again." When Barron stepped back outside, Maria was still standing by the cart, her expression a mix of confusion and curiosity. "What did you do?" she asked. "I just had a chat with your manager," Barron said with a small smile. "He's going to help you from now on." Maria's eyes widened. "Are you serious? What did you say to him?" "Nothing he didn't need to hear," Barron replied. "You shouldn't have to fight these battles alone." Maria looked at him, her eyes glistening with tears. "Thank you," she whispered. "You didn't have to do that." "I know," Barron said. "But sometimes, doing the right thing is more important than doing what's easy." As they stood there, a car pulled up to the curb. It was Barron's driver, who had finally tracked him down. "Sir," the driver called, stepping out of the car. "We've been looking for you." Maria's eyes flicked to the sleek black SUV and then back to Barron. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice tinged with curiosity. Barron hesitated, then smiled. "Just someone who believes in kindness." Before she could press further, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a business card. "If you ever need anything, call this number. Don't hesitate." Maria took the card, her hands trembling. "Thank you," she said again, her voice barely above a whisper. Barron nodded, then climbed into the car. As it pulled away, he watched Maria through the window, her figure growing smaller until she was just a dot on the bustling street. That night, as Barron sat in his apartment reflecting on the day, he felt a sense of fulfillment that no business deal or social event had ever given him. Helping Maria had reminded him of the power of small acts of kindness, how one moment of compassion could ripple outward, changing lives in ways he might never fully understand. Maria, meanwhile, held onto the business card as though it were a lifeline. For the first time in months, she felt seen, valued, and hopeful. And though she didn't yet know the full extent of who Barron Trump was, she knew one thing for certain. He had made her believe in the goodness of people again. In the days that followed, Maria's manager kept his promise, assigning her lighter duties and even apologizing for his past behavior. Word of Barron's actions spread quietly through the deli staff, inspiring others to step up and support one another. And so, what began as an ordinary day in Manhattan became an extraordinary story of empathy, courage, and the simple yet profound impact of doing what's right. Barron Trump, in his quiet and unassuming way, had once again proven that kindness knows no boundaries, not of status, wealth, or circumstance. And as the city continued to hum with its usual chaos, those who witnessed the moment knew they'd never forget it.